Hey guys, we are here in Rishikesh, the spiritual heart of India.
We'll be staying in an Indian monastery on the bank of the holy Ganges river. We'll be doing everything in an ashram, including meditation, breathing exercises, and yoga.
We're going to share with you how a typical day in an ashram would look like.
We are Aaron and Shar, and we are embarking on a one-year adventure around the world. In August of 2024, we traded our paychecks for backpacks to explore all that this incredible planet has to offer. We started our journey in Asia, and we are now heading to Europe, the Middle East, and the Americas. We believe that traveling does not have to be expensive, so we are embracing the world on our own terms. Join us as we journey around the world, learn about diverse cultures, go local, and make every day an adventure. Now let's get back to the video.
We are filming this 2 days after our ashram experience. After a few intense days of New Delhi, with the honking, with the touts, with the crowds, with every single thing that just came to us, we're ready to seek something really different, something that's quieter, something that's more reflective, and we decided to go to Rishikesh.
Rishikesh is known as the yoga capital of the world. There are many ashrams and schools offering courses on yoga, meditation, and also philosophy.
Rishikesh is also known as a holy city and is a major destination for Indian Hindus. And for us, we spent a couple of days in an ashram, a place where people could come in to meditate, to practice yoga, to seek silence, and seek self-reflection.
The ashram that we went to is called Sadhana Mandir Ashram, and this ashram was founded by Swami Rama in the mid-1960s.
So if you're like us and not really knowledgeable about the yoga world, you might not have heard about Swami Rama. Swami Rama was born in the Himalayas in 1925, and after learning and practicing yoga for multiple years, he was directed by his master to go to Japan and the West to share more about his yogic practices. He later went on to establish the Himalayan Institute of Yoga Science and Philosophy in the United States. He was also famous for his ability to control his body in yoga nidra. Like, he was able to stop his heart from pumping for about 17 seconds voluntarily, and also like he was able to create like a temperature difference between two areas of his palm.
He was also controversial because he allegedly sexually abused some of his followers. This is our first time in an ashram, and it was actually recommended by our friend who knew that we were going to India.
Out of all the ashrams that were in Rishikesh, Shah googled this and we decided to come to this ashram.
Yeah, initially it was fully booked up, but thankfully I think someone cancelled and then they emailed us saying that there was a slot. So we joined them.
Religion is such a huge part in India, and staying in ashram gave us a very good experience of it.
This was a completely new experience for us, and let us share with you how it's like.
Sadhana Mandir Ashram is not very far from the city of Rishikesh. In fact, it is about a 2-kilometer drive away from the Rishikesh train station, and it's actually about like a 10 minutes drive if you consider the traffic in India. Our first impression of ashram was that it was really clean and really well maintained.
Once we entered the ashram, there was this huge sense of serenity and peacefulness, such a huge contrast from the place where we alighted at.
The compound is actually simple, it's very well manicured, it's not too fancy, and we're greeted with so much hospitality the moment when we entered the ashram.
As we walked around the compound, we couldn't help but notice that there were many portraits of Swami Rama everywhere.
It's almost everywhere, including the dining room, even our bedrooms.
In some rooms, there were like multiple portraits of him. Sadhana Mandir Ashram is right at the bank of the holy Ganges river. There is this huge long pathway that we could walk along, and it was super peaceful, super serene.
Really beautiful, with people walking and running and exercising along the beautiful riverside walk. It's gorgeous.
When you stay at an ashram, you could be following their ashram schedule, or you could be there for like a retreat or like a yoga course. For us, because we wanted to understand how living in an ashram was like, we decided to follow their daily ashram schedule.
So when we arrived, we realized that we were in between two different retreats. Before we arrived, like, there was a retreat that some of our friends said that they have attended, and when we left, there was going to be another yoga retreat.
I barely know anything about yoga and meditation, so I was going into this completely blind.
I also do not know what I was about to expect too, but I was ready to embrace the unknown. Outside of like the few yoga and meditation practices that I had like before the pandemic, I have essentially stopped practicing yoga ever since.
This daily schedule introduces us to the basic level practices, and it is minimally a 3-day program.
Every single day there is this daily ashram practice, and it starts off at about 6:30 a.m. in the morning with joints and glands exercise. What is joints and glands exercise, Shar?
To be honest, when I first read the schedule, I was like, what was that? Because like when you think about exercise, you think about exercising your muscles, not your joints or your glands. I don't even know what glands are. The night before, our instructor was reminding us like, oh, you have to be on time, like do not be late. So I had trouble sleeping the night before because I was so afraid that I would be late. But actually, there was another reason why I couldn't sleep properly at night. And that was because my stomach was churning all the time.
A classic first time being in India.
Yeah. I think you can guess, I had the Delhi belly. So I was tossing and turning the whole night.
It was rough. We woke up early.
Today is our first day for our daily meditation in the ashram, and looking forward.
And Shah had to drag her feet out of the bed for this joints and glands exercise. This was held in one of the halls, the meditation halls in the ashram.
So it turns out this is what joints and glands exercises is. We started out with massaging our faces, started off with massaging our eyebrows, and then the different parts of our faces and massaging our jaws. And then after that, it moves on to like eyeball exercises. So what our instructor shared with us was that like, you know, a lot of people have like eye problems nowadays, and it's very important to have this kind of eye exercises. This is the part where I think I learned quite a bit from, because I personally have pretty bad eyes. And this eye exercise basically entails moving our eyeballs up and down and diagonally and also around the room without moving our heads.
I really didn't know what I was doing, but my eyes felt tired afterwards.
I guess they were strengthening.
Yeah. After the eye exercise as well as the massage, we had like some neck exercise as well, where we rotated our necks left and right, up and down and sideways, as well as like making a turtleneck, so that like we kind of stretch every single part of our neck.
After the neck exercises, we moved on to the arm exercises, like arm rotation, and then like up and down, and basically just strengthening the arms and also like the shoulders.
It was a great wake up call for me like by that time, because like I was very sleepy before that, and finally this woke me up.
Yeah, this got the blood pumping.
There's also like hip rotations and like deep stretches at our muscles at the back, at the hamstrings and other parts of the bodies afterwards. So it took us about 1.5 hours for this exercise to take place that morning.
It was a pretty good and light exercise, and the warm light was pouring into the room, which was pretty nice. But what was not nice was my churning tummy. I was wondering if like people around me could hear my tummy churning.
After the joints and glands exercise, we were also introduced to this concept called the Nadi Shodhan. The Nadi Shodhan is a breathing technique where we inhale and exhale on one side of the nostril, and then on the other side for at least 3 times. And the second part of it is to breathe in and then breathe out on both nostrils for 3 times as well, and then we'll repeat the cycle if needed. So I learned that there is like subtle energy channels within our body, and those energy channels could be blocked because of stresses, could be anxiety, could be all sorts of various reasons. And if Nadi Shodhan is done properly, it can help to quieten and still your mind. After this exercise, I felt really calm, and I felt that this exercise had an instant impact on me.
Next on the schedule was breakfast, but I couldn't even head to the kitchen because of how badly my stomach was churning. So I just headed to the room, and then like I couldn't control myself. I just vomited every drop of water that I drank in the morning.
While she was struggling in the room, I decided to get breakfast. Breakfast consists of some apples, some oats, some milks, and sometimes like it could be some noodles or so. They switch up the food a little bit every single day, and it's all vegetarian. Immediately after breakfast, there was some time before the next class, so I'd end up catching on some sleep and some work. At 10:30 a.m. there's this schedule called the philosophy class. Shah was still very sick and was deeply asleep, so I had to go to the philosophy class by myself. This philosophy class was a recorded video of Swami Rama in a lecture before he died in 1996, and the title of this video was called Stressless Living, and it's almost a full hour of him trying to explain that true peace can be achieved inside our mind. I wasn't really paying attention too much to what exactly he said, but how exactly he said it. He was speaking in a very simple and direct style. Like, he was very convincing in many ways, because he kind of made like very profound teachings really simple, which makes him very accessible, broad audience. And sometimes he'll throw in some jokes or some anecdotal references along the way, which makes everybody more receptive to his teachings.
Unfortunately, I missed that lecture, but there are a lot of his books available. After a short break at 12:30 p.m, it was time for diaphragmatic breathing. And this was a short program, so I decided that I could muster up some energy to join. And what this diaphragmatic breathing entailed was us lying on the mat in the hall with our arms crossed above our heads, lifting our chest slightly above the mat. And from there, we would breathe in and out. And because of the way we lay on the mat, when we breathe in and out, our bodies would move up and down as we inhale and exhale. And the whole time while we were doing this exercise, our instructor was telling us the different parts of our body to focus on.
So this exercise was really calming, and I could feel myself very grounded while doing the diaphragmatic breathing.
Yeah, so we just finished our second class. It's a meditation class, and we were it's quite nice actually. It's a nice feeling to be lying on the floor on your belly.
I felt rather peaceful and calm also, but whenever the attention shifted to my tummy, I could feel it was churning. So it wasn't that pleasant of an experience for me, just because of how my body was trying to recover. And it was when I decided my body couldn't take much movements, so I just decided to take a rest and just skip lunch.
Lunch happens after the diaphragmatic breathing exercise, and lunch consists of rice, vegetables, and some fruits as well. As usual, everything is vegetarian. This was supposed to be a quite experienced dining, but I was taking the opportunity to try to catch up with all the other attendees. People whom I've met are extremely nice. So there was this uncle from Penang who has offered us antibiotics pills for Shah upon knowing that Shah was ill.
There was another lady who also offered some medication for my tummy, and I was just very thankful for all of them.
And then there are other people in the ashram who were residents living in the ashram. Everybody comes from different walks of life. It is these conversations that made me realize that while other ashrams were more strict, more disciplined, more routine in terms of their schedule, Sadhana Mandir Ashram was a lot more homely, a lot more relaxed, a lot more friendly and supportive.
Even after this lunch, when we met them subsequently, everyone was asking how I was doing, or everyone was asking him how I was doing. There's so much care and concern going on.
And then I have to give them daily updates on how Shah is doing, oh, she's feeling not that great, oh, she missed this class. There was so much love and care going all around. Poor girl.
Poor tummy.
Post-lunch, Shah was still feeling extremely unwell.
I took one piece of paracetamol, and that led me to a very deep sleep, which I was so grateful for. And I think I kind of got well rested after that.
Yeah, for me, I rested for a bit too before deciding to run along the banks of this river. This is the most beautiful part of the entire Ganges River. At different sections of the river might be a little bit more polluted. This river was really stunning, really beautiful, and I saw so many different water buffaloes along the riverside walk. Next up was Hatha Yoga. Hatha Yoga is a session conducted by the instructor supposedly at 5 o'clock, but actually arrived at 5:30.
Can't believe you arrived 30 minutes late. I bet the instructor was so angry.
Yeah, I kind of interrupted the session halfway through, but luckily the instructor accepted my presence and allowed me to continue for the rest of the class. So if you have not heard about Hatha Yoga before, Ha means sun and Ta means moon. So the idea is to bring the balance of sun and moon within us. Hatha Yoga emphasizes a series of physical postures that are designed to stretch, strengthen and align your body. So usually these postures are practiced really slowly and deliberately, and so you can actually focus on your posture as well as your breathing. Hatha Yoga got me sweating bullocks. This yoga session was really interesting because it allowed me to stretch a little bit more.
And then it was 7 o'clock, it was time for dinner, which unfortunately I skipped because I was too tired and uncomfortable.
For us, we had some roti, some potato dal and some kind of peppery green soup, which I have no idea what that is. Everything was really simple, but certainly it was still really tasty and we could get multiple portions of it. I was really full after dinner, and immediately after dinner was the guided meditation session. This guided meditation was about half an hour long, and Shah recovered enough to be able to attend this session.
We were in the hall again, and this time it was completely dark. We were sitting on a mat in a meditation position. Our instructor came in and we moved on to the Savasana pose, which meant that we were lying on our backs with our feet apart and our arms apart. And there we began our guided meditation practice. Our instructor was walking around and instructing us with his very calm voice on the different parts of our bodies to focus on throughout the 30 minutes. By then it was close to 9 p.m. and the room was getting cold and there was this stillness in the air which I had not felt for a long time.
This is a one full day of very spiritual and guided program, and for me, I really enjoyed myself trying to go through the different courses, even though I was really nervous and anxious at the beginning, not knowing what exactly to experience. But after one full day, I felt like I've gained so much from what our instructor Prince was actually doing for us and sharing with us so much about trying to be mindful about our rest. We'll take care of our bodies as well. As we mentioned earlier, this ashram is in Rishikesh, and in Rishikesh there's this Aarti that is happening along the Ganga river almost every day, and it's a must attend in the area.
In case you are as clueless as me, an Aarti is a prayer ceremony where people offer sounds and lights to the deities. It is a way to express devotion and to seek blessings from the god.
We attended the Aarti at Triveni Ghat at 6 p.m. in the evening, which is about sunset time, and this Aarti is about walking distance away from the ashram.
Yeah, and if you want to get good seats, you should get there about like 5 p.m. so they can sit near the water and see what the priests are doing.
An Aarti experience is like no other. The ritual starts with chants and mantras. The priests would hold large fire bowls in their hands and devotees can take flower baskets and float them down the river. And this is exactly what we did.
The Aarti at the Triveni Ghat is really special because right at the end, everyone breaks into a dance. And we didn't expect that to happen, we just joined in the dance anyways.
I really enjoyed myself in Rishikesh as well as the entire ashram experience. The ashram program opened up my mind to accepting more spiritual concepts, specifically other ways to feel rested, other ways to cope with anxiety and to find inner peace and get the clarity of thought. And I realized that this is just the beginning. There are so many different concepts, there are so many different principles and school of thoughts, and I'm so happy I get to experience an opportunity like this.
It was a good way for us to practice simple living and also develop some form of discipline through the routine at the ashram.
Throughout the whole entire ashram experience, we also really enjoyed meeting new people as well as talking to them and them becoming our friends as well.
The ashram experience is definitely an interesting one, especially if you're into yoga or if you're into meditation or if you're just looking for an interesting experience in India.
We would like to thank Prince as well as the staff and security at the Sadhana Mandir Ashram who has made our stay really enjoyable for us.
And we are so thankful for all the people and friends we've met along the way. If you haven't caught up, catch our previous video on all our crazy adventures in Delhi.
If you are new to us, check out our Japan adventures because we started our one-year travel there. Or if not, we'll see you guys in our next video. Bye bye!